The 90s called Nothing Like a Good Nostalgia Grab.
Do another horror guru review. Today we're going to be doing one of the more nostalgia grabs that they like to do nowadays. We are talking about the new I Know What You Did Last Summer 2025. Now, let me tell you this one. It is rated R. It is 1 hour and 51 minutes, which is okay. It's an okay amount. You know me, anything under 2 hours I'm okay with. But it was just creeping up just a little bit. There were a couple moments where I was like, I don't understand why we're just going to keep going with this, you know? So could have got it down to maybe an hour 35, hour 40. But all in all, I enjoyed it. It was a very, very good movie with that. So this is the fourth installment of it. Since it is a legacy one, it is going back into the original two, because the third movie didn't even take place in Southport, where the first two and then the newest one is. So it's going back into there. You get to see some legacy characters. You get to see some new character building, and from there. So, okay, so we'll talk about the legacy cast. The cast, you got Freddie Prinze Jr., he comes back as Ray. Jennifer Love Hewitt, she'll be Julie. Obviously, these are from the trailers, so this is no spoilers. And then you also get a couple surprise characters in there that is very, very exciting to see. Didn't expect to see, but very cool in certain scenes. So I will leave that at that, because that's something that they did not promote, so I don't want to spoil it. So then you got the new characters. You got Danica, Maya, Ava, Teddy, Stevie. Those are going to be the main focal cast for the new characters in it. So the plot itself is pretty much the same as you would go into the first one, where they're all getting together after not seeing each other for a while, and they are kind of reuniting, getting to know each other, and then something ends up happening along the way. With that being said, an incident happens, and then as the movie continues, people start dying off. So, and then eventually you get the killer reveal. So, I do think that is, pretty much the typical I Know What You Did Last Summer, blueprint. So it's not really foiling anything, I guess you could say. I've always called I Know What You Do Last Summer and Scream. They always felt almost the same, but not the same at the same time, because it's got that same ambiance to it. So anyways, so let me go over the pros, because I got a lot of pros, which I was impressed with the movie. I'm not gonna lie, I was impressed with the movie. The first thing I got was they brought it back to Southport. Like I said, I was not a big fan of the third movie, that I just rewatched all three again, just so I can be caught up and have a refresher. So bringing it back to Southport was cool, because if I remember correctly, the third one, they were in Colorado or something. So it wasn't even they didn't have no legacy characters. They didn't have anything, and they weren't even in the main place. So I was happy that they brought that back. I'm going to go with the unique gory kills. This one is kind of different from the other ones, where, it felt like the other ones, they really just used the hook, and that was the main focal point. And I'm not saying they don't use it in this movie in particular, but they have a lot of unique kills into it as well. So I was very excited to see all the different kinds of kills that they were able to do without spoiling too much. So if you're looking for something different, you're going to enjoy the kills that they do in this one. There's something they do with even a harpoon thing, and I'm not going to spoil it, but it's pretty cool. The fisherman look, that's something that I've always thought was really cool, even as a kid. I Know What You Did Last Summer wasn't always one of my favorites, but I really have always liked the look of this killer. I think that it's got its own thing. Like I just referenced to Ghostface. It's got its own unique look, and I like how they didn't stray away from it. They kind of kept it the same. I mean, there's only so much you can do to change the look up, but I thought that they did a really good job at really preserving the like what I Know What You Did Last Summer's essence was. There's a couple shock moments into the movie where you start seeing people that you wouldn't expect to see, and I thought that was kind of cool. You also see a lot of like throwback, like I said, nostalgia. Because you're blending in these legacy characters, you get to see some nostalgia on top of it. So you get to see some shock moments in the movie where it's like, oh, I didn't see that coming, or oh, that was a cool little throwback, or something like that. The characters weren't unbearable, the newer ones. I think that they're in my pro and my con. They're not horrible, but I thought that they weren't bad. They weren't like, there are some movies that you watch and it's like you can't get behind any of them. And it's like these guys, they were okay, but they weren't like fantastic. But they were good enough to be in the movie, blended with legacy characters. Which I think that's just, that's really a big thing. Like, I feel like nowadays with horror, like, you don't have a lot of people that are taking that mantle and running with it. I mean, you got like a couple, like you got Sienna from Terrifier. That's really like all I can think of right now. Even Jenna Ortega, I'm not like a giant fan of when it comes to the horror genre. So like, you don't really have these people that are like running with it. But I thought that, good enough. Another pro was the trailers. I like how the trailers lately for movies have been swerving. So it's like the trailer will show one thing, but then like it really does something completely different. Whether it be just like a whole different kill or anything, it's just completely different. So I really liked how the trailer swerves us in a way. And then the last pro, there is a mid-credit scene, and it's really cool. So remember that. So the cons, I don't have a lot of cons. Like I said, one of them would be the new cast. Like I just said, it's in the pro and the con album for me. Because I think that, we are trying to move on to the next, like, generation. So, you get, like, a lot of those, like, cringe type moments, where it's like, they'll just use, like, slang that it's like, I don't know, I'm a millennial, I'm used to some slang, but, like, some of it's just weird. Some of it's just a little iffy. Like, they're trying to reach a certain audience. I don't know if it was the audience that they should be going for, though. Because, with this kind of movie, you're really focusing on people my age, like in their 30s, maybe late 20s. You're looking for people that grew up in the 90s and grew up watching these movies, So I think that the cast was, some moments were like, very unrelatable. Also with the new cast, I would say they lack a lot of backstory. I don't think that it was, you're not going to get a lot for horror movies, but give us something. Give me a little something about these characters where I actually care about them. Not just, they're in this town, they're all together, and then, they're trying to survive a killer. So I think that that's a big thing for me for the con. And then the last thing, without spoiling it, would be the killer itself. If it was me, I would have went in a different direction. I'm not saying it's a bad killer, but I'm saying I wouldn't have gone with this killer for it. So it just didn't make a lot of sense to me. Just put it like that. It just didn't make a lot of sense. So, but overall, I ended up giving it a 3.5 out of 5 star. So I think it's good enough to watch. It's good enough to get when it comes out on DVD or Blu-ray or however you collect them. And, something to add to your collection. So go check out in theaters. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. Make sure to hit the follow button, whether you're watching this on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram. So anyways, we're trying to really get those numbers up, guys. So make sure to hit me with a follow. And until next time, guys, this is Horror Guru. Peace.